Welcome, everyone, to the Tons of Productions podcast on this Monday, September 16th, 2019. Today, I am revisited by Richard Tickner. He is a location scout in Vancouver, BC, Canada, and we really delve into locations, and this episode is called Locations, Locations, Locations. So, here you go. Here is Richard Tickner. You are listening to the Tons of Productions podcast. How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you came back and chat with me about a bunch of stuff. It's so sweet.
Yeah, I think we just rambled last time, basically, so that was an introduction to me, I suppose.
Yeah, that was you talking to the audience and them getting to know who you are. Now we can more delve into what you do and what your deal is, because I'm really excited that you got a job where I used to work for the show I was on and work with the same people, because there's a lot of really nice people on that show.
And it's been around for a while, so they're really dialed with the way they have things working. So
Was it the 15th year or 14th?
15.
15.
Yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny how many years.
A lot of years.
A lot of years. But yeah, it's nice working with people that have things, prepared and continually moving forward, because the team is, the wheels are greased fairly well. Like there's,
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering how you, when you go to a show like that, the difference between that and a movie. Because when you go to a movie, if they're not teams that work together, they're just learning who each other are, and it takes a bit before you get those wheels greased. But a show like that has been running for 15 years. These guys just, it's almost second nature. There's bang, 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 bang.
And I would imagine they will find a way to keep that team together, whether it be some other show or something, because it's too valuable to sort of break up.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of those teams will stick together, even if they're not on the same show, like all the construction guys and all the painter guys and whatever, usually.
Yeah, it's easier just to have people that you know and trust already. But our topic today, Michael, is locations. Well,
scouting is a job, because you were just filled me in on that. It's a job where you're not a show call per se. You said it's like a daily hire?
Well, technically, in the position in the guild, in the Directors Guild of Canada, it is a daily hire, because my job is to work myself out of a job as quickly as possible. Like, they need locations. If they need one location, as soon as I found it, thanks, Rich. You're welcome. Okay, bye. So, but at the same time, it's also so valued that if they know, say, let's call this imaginary person Mike. And Mike has lots of files on train yards. Mike's your train yard scout. And it's like, okay, well, we need a train yard. Let's hire him for the day. So Mike may only send them one email with the links to the numerous locations and the contacts for that and hook them up. So he gets a full day rate for that.
Oh, even if he's already got it on his roster, in his computer, he already has that location.
Because
it's just send it to them, and they were like, "Okay, day."
Yeah, because it's so valuable. Like, they cannot move forward,
right,
until they have locations, that they can use. So it's my job to work myself out of a job as quickly as possible, but at the same time,
so the best scouts are the quickest.
I suppose the ones that just basically give production what they need.
Like, you're satisfying in production. They're saying, okay, I want a house and I need a big balcony or a big... And
everyone has different skills. Mine, I'm continually growing with my sort of file organization and documentation and things like that. That's something I'm still growing at, and it's not my initial strong point. I know everyone seems shocked. They're like, Rich, you're not the most organized guy in the world. I know. Seems surprising. But, my skills are probably my people skills. And
Well, yeah, that's the big thing about it. I had a ALM do the same thing, where watch me deal with people and deal with the general public and go, oh, you do it special or different than anyone else. Usually people are shy and stuff, and you have that ability too, where you can just
Keep
talk
it
to
breezy.
people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And not come off threatening.
Unless you have to. So one of the reasons with the locations is like there's 3 different perspectives really. So there's this perspective of the production. There's the perspective of the municipality, and there's the viewpoint of like the neighborhood, which is split into 2: the one where they're filming and the people surrounding it. And there's in Vancouver recently there was something on the news about some businesses in an area that felt that they weren't necessarily compensated to the degree that they felt they should have been.
Okay.
And contrary to the voices that were on the news, a lot of the businesses around there kind of like it because sometimes they pick their store and sometimes they pick their store.
So it's a source of income for everybody.
Yeah, and if everyone works together with their, neighbors, then if it is film friendly, you can have your restrictions in place and also it be a way that everyone can eventually get, paid or whatever. And it's some business owners will say, and it's tough. It's tough having your own small business, right? But some will say, oh, well, I lost this much money because you guys were outside. And usually productions retort to that is like, okay, well, we'll give you a loss of compensation, a business loss. So for that day, for the past 2 or 3 weeks, you have to show your books from your accounting to show what your average is over that day in the past 3 weeks.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then what your profit on top of that they will give you. But you have your overhead and stuff anyway, so oftentimes people are apprehensive about opening up their books. You don't need to be in. There's no reason any production would ever, want to ruin their reputation by giving up any information. It's like they just need it to say, okay, we'll give it to you, but you need to show us how much it was.
No, I know, because a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I have dealt with a couple of businesses in the past where there's people like, oh, I make $1,500 a day. And you're like, oh, do you? Okay, well, and they say, show me the books. And they're like, well, I can't get them to you right now. Whatever,
And if you sell $1,500 a day, then that doesn't necessarily mean that's what your profit is either.
No, and that's also the profit thing.
So, but it can get annoying for sure having film vehicles around a lot.
Generators running and
they're fairly good at making sure they're not parking and blowing in some nursery's window or something, and they have extremely high tech generators that are very quiet and very low emission generators. Right?
Nowadays it's getting nice,
but it's I don't know. I see the ability for small business owners working together in an area that film likes in a way that will end up making them all more money, as opposed to, we need $1,000 because you're parking in front of us. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like, do you want to make $1,000 twice, or do you want to make like maybe 5, 10 times, and potentially 10 grand or 20 or 40 grand another time?
Right. Don't be so greedy, because this isn't the only time. That's a lot of people have this idea where there's one time they're ever going to be here and that's it. So I may as well get as much as I can.
Yeah. And if everybody does do that and they do try and get as much as they can, then it makes it a non-starter, and other productions will, just not go there. Which I understand, but it's like, there's so many shows that have such a massive following.
Yeah.
That if your store's in there, randomly one day a tour bus may come with a whole 3 tour buses full of people to have pictures and selfies outside your storefront because some famous actor had ice cream in a scene in a television show or something there. It's so.
Or you never know if the show takes off.
Mm-hmm.
and you have a show and you have a store that's been shown in the thing, it could be once a week. It could be once a month or once a week.
You can't get recurring. And then, that gets annoying as well.
Right.
Well, for example, Fort Langley, the little town there.
Oh, they have so much filming.
But they've actually curbed it because they've redeveloped a number of the buildings there. And there are a lot more people there, especially in the summertime. And on season, it's not feasible for it to continually happen and closing down the streets and stuff. So they've actually kind of did cease and desist for a while right in the core there.
Wow. Yeah, because cease and desist in the core, like by the city hall there?
By the beautiful small town location.
Yeah, that was where I filmed. I did background and PA many times, and they said, oh, yeah, there's something here every week forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And anytime you go to that town, there's always some sort of production.
And they've kind of had enough. But they built up, the buildings look great if you get a chance to go down to see it. Anyone out there? Have you ever been to Fort Langley? It's looking good.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's great these days.
A nice little townish looking and little boutique buildings, mom and pa stores and stuff. It's cool.
If you haven't panned for gold in the fort, then you're really missing out. You should, put on the old red wool jackets and sit there like you're signing something.
They used to have the ferry that go from there too. And now it's now it's the Golden Ears Bridge, but it used to be a ferry that everyone go into. Mm-hmm. So when they cut that off, it stopped the traffic coming through town, but it didn't stop the film, obviously.
No, it sure didn't. They were like, okay, bye. So, and then let's look at the perspective from, say, a homeowner that's having something filmed, or a business owner that's having them. Now, again, the same thing is, you want to make $10,000, $20,000, $40,000 once, or do you want to make that amount multiple times and you be the one that decides to distribute it to the other businesses? Because there's nothing stopping businesses or homes that do well to shell out of their own pocket to their neighbors. And that's obviously a personal choice.
It is, but if you get along with your neighbors, it's a good idea.
Yeah, and it's, say if you made $10,000 and you kept 6, maybe you just threw a big barbecue for everyone, or something.
It doesn't have to be money. Why don't you just send baskets of whatever, flowers and donuts, some sort of gesture, some sort of gift,
just to show you're grateful, and things like that can be a catalyst for people getting to know their neighbors. Because I remember scouting a neighborhood where a lot of people had just kind of moved in and they didn't know each other. And the next thing you know, I kind of introducing the people to their neighbors.
That's so funny.
While we're filming there. And it actually got people they were into the filming, and
you are the grease for those wheels.
It was great. It was really great. I feel privileged to be able to
Rich.
Here's the
Rich?
names.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even live here. What? I think it's important because there is a lot of film here. There is a lot of money to be spread around, and if people are gracious about it and are different productions have different attitudes as well, right? Sometimes I've had to go do damage control because people were trampling over someone's pansies. It's like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
Why are you trampling on the neighbor's pansies, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go down to Home Depot, get her a new pansy gift certificate or something like stat.
Well, it's also the crews and the shows. I've had times where they're like, make sure we just bought this hot tub cover. Make sure no one touches it. It's brand new. It costs us $1,000. This is really nice. It's insulated, whatever. And then I'm doing prep. I leave for a second. I go back and there is a grip or someone standing on it, and it snapped it. And I was like, and there's signs all over it. There's flagging tape. There's stuff. But some people don't care. They just go in and whatever. Do we own it? They said to me, do we own it? We don't own it. What are you talking about? This is someone's house or whatever.
Yeah, but that can also come down to stress as well.
That too, I know.
Mortgages, and
but like
kids,
I say, it's a show.
And they don't. Don't have sleep.
Yeah,
it's when it gets busy. I think the thing is that a lot of people haven't necessarily done other people's jobs. nor have they been introduced to their fellow crew members. Hey, this is Mike. Hey, Mike, Dan,
Right.
Mike.
Because there's a respect thing there, too. If you don't know someone, it's easy to...
Well, they're a stranger, and you don't talk to strangers. Remember?
Exactly.
Really?
Well, it
As soon
depends
as you
on
say
the
hi
show,
and you
though.
know them, it's like you're not a stranger. So, yeah, I'd say just introducing everyone, introducing the neighborhood. But back to it, if you are someone who has had filming at your place, then great. Hopefully it went well. I say the best advice I could ever give someone that is having filming at their place of work or business or wherever. There's a lot of people involved in dressing it, undressing it, filming, leaving. And a lot of those people, again, like we were saying, they're busy. They have mortgages. They have, kids.
Oh, yeah, they don't have time for you.
They don't have sleep. No, but it's not that they don't have time for you. It's just the more people involved in something, it can sort of, little things get lost. So what you do, the best thing for you to do is photograph your entire house. Photograph everything.
That's right.
Because they will put it back exactly the way you can, but it's not, if they don't have that guidance, then it can be challenging, because it's like, where was that thing? Or I don't know. Is this ours? I don't know.
Well, that's on both sides. That's production. If you want, or like you're doing independence, you should take pictures of everything. Make sure it's exact because of that. Because I've had many times where someone comes back and says, "Oh, this wasn't broken. You broke this," and it was like, "No, I have a picture right here that it was broken before we even did it." And they're like, "Oh,
there was not a big gash on my floor here before." Like,
yeah.
And but if you're the owner, you can say if it wasn't there, then you have a picture of it wasn't there as well. So. Yeah, just
protect yourself. Cover your butt.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not. I remember someone got really upset because they thought someone had stolen her lamp, and it was set deck had just gotten confused. They were just confused, and they didn't realize it was their lamp, but it was an important lamp to her. Not, needless to say, but she got it back. I was like, okay, that someone took my lamp.
Yeah, that
it was actually a
well.
pretty cool lamp when I saw it, but I don't know, it's her auntie's or something.
Well, maybe that's why they grabbed it, because it was like so fancy that they thought,
oh, this must be ours.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff they bring in is really fancy and really kind of doesn't fit the backdrop kind of thing.
Yeah, sometimes it's more schmancy. So what did we cover? We covered from the neighbors.
Just if your neighbors and covering your butt and being a homeowner or a store owner, what you should do as far as appeasing your neighbors and making it so we can all communally make money.
Yeah, because it's like I wouldn't say torn. I'm fairly good at communicating with people who, there may be filming here. If I'm scouting a place, I don't tell them we're filming there unless they've given you paperwork. Just try and forget about it. We might not. Don't go making plans with anything. It's like they always have to find. There's always other irons in the fire until one's sort of actually fired. Really,
right.
And so it's not downplaying. It's being realistic. Like my job's to go here, guys. Here's 10 houses or whatever. And like, no, don't like them. Go find me 10 more houses, Rich. I'm like, okay, here I go. Go find me 10 more houses. And then they go, don't like these houses, Rich. Go find us 10 more houses. I'm like, I'll go find you 20 more houses. How about 10 more tomorrow and then 10 more the next day? And sometimes they just go back to the first one that you showed them.
Well, you never know. And who makes that decision? Is that the art director?
Honestly,
or is that
I've learned not to make any decisions in my mind for production when I'm looking for things. I'm looking for the best description that they've given me in my perception and things that could be a little bit.
But it's not up to the location manager to make that decision. That's the art director and producers. Like, who do you show this?
The production designer.
The production designer is
director.
who you answer to?
It's
he's the one who says 10 more houses, Rich.
Yeah, and I mean, but it depends. Different shows and different people have different influences. Certain directors have more influence. Certain people can have worked together before, so the production designer will be like, we're gonna these are the ones we're gonna show him when he gets here, and they'll be fine for him or her. So it's a multifaceted thing, and it might come down to the first AD being like, no, this is logistically,
I see,
we're not going to do it here, and then they'll just cut a scene sometimes because
so for all these people to say yes, it's quite an endeavor. It's like it's for everyone to agree. Well, I guess it depends on the show, though.
It depends on the show,
because some shows it'll be two
team.
people say yes, that's perfect, or sometimes there's 10 people going no,
or sometimes 10 people will say yes and one person will be like no,
and that's it
because you showed them before lunch. Don't show anyone anything before lunch, okay?
So food is a big thing.
Oh no, there was a study done. Here's the example. And I don't have the exact percentages, but we're just gonna sort of make it up to give you an idea of what I remember about it. It was in the U.S. Parole system, like the courts. There's hearings for someone applying to get out on parole, and it's like if you went between first thing in the morning and say 10:30, your chances of getting parole were maybe about 30% ish. That was the rate. And then, but the hour and a half or 2 hours before lunch, I think it was maybe an hour and a half, maybe a narrower window. The percentage of people that were paroled was 0.
Wow.
So because they have the times, then they have it throughout the whole system across the entire United States. And then after lunch, your chances went up to something around 60%.
Wow, that's just makes sense though. They all recorded, and there you go. So
I mean, there may be another element to the dynamic. It's like maybe the guys they like more, they don't get them up as early in the morning. I don't know. I don't know what the scheduling is for putting it in there, but it was startling. It was immediately after people had eaten.
Well,
they were just way more. Yeah, it also makes sense that it shows how little your sort of free will with that thing is, because it's the things in your guts.
That's just it. Everyone thinks it's just your brain.
Yeah.
But your ideas come
your
from
gut
your
brain. Yeah. Is where your hormones come from. They'll be like, here, send him this hormone. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Okay, it's working. He'll get us food soon. Yeah.
Wow. That's wild to think of, because there's so many times where I have been snippy or short with my wife when we're shopping or something, is because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Because we're there for food and whatever. I'm like, then we get home and eat. And I'm like, oh, I feel more calm
Okay,
now.
imagine if you are a director. Top your game.
Pressure like you wouldn't believe.
And catering fucked up your breakfast, and now you haven't eaten. Someone showing you the stupid location by some what tall, silly, redheaded guy. Fuck that location. Fuck him. And then after lunch, it's like, hey, what about that one you guys showed me? They guys show me before lunch. Oh yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, I like it. I love it.
I love 50 it. More.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
But that so human behavior comes into play when it comes to that, because like it's almost like above a certain pay grade, right, or above a certain job title. Once you get into even above first AD, as soon as you get to director, producers, art director. People that are at the top of the making the production, you can experience, I have anyway, egos like celebrities. And in the industry, they are almost referred to or treated like a celebrity. He likes his coffee with only so much cream, so you don't piss him off, kind of thing.
I want 7 raisins on my
and you're like, you're not Sonny Bono, or you're not whoever famous.
But at the same time, they're not there to be friends with anyone. They're there to make the production money.
They say it's showbiz, not show friends.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like the people who are on top of their game are machines, and
can do it really well.
It's not illegal to be a jerk.
Yeah,
there's plenty of people that are kind of jerks that are very successful, and like I think I'm saying like a lot today. I feel really embarrassed. I don't. Yeah, good for them, because some people aren't nice, but they're machines, and they do their job, and they're not there to paid to be nice.
Well, actually,
I mean, I am, because that's my position, but some people aren't there paid to be nice, and they do a great job, and it's not. People have things going on. You don't have sleep. You have mortgages. You have kids. You're not there to make friends. You're there to make money. So it's important that that's understood.
And if you screw up, you're gonna be gone. So that your number one priority is to be as excellent as your boss expects or better.
And it's shifting. There's an old guard sort of switching to a much less aggressive,
like rigid
dynamic. And people are realizing that I don't want to. It's not legal to be a jerk, but I don't want to spend 16 hours a day with them. So there is a guard that's changing from a less sort of aggressive, militant, dominating structure to something that's, because the A teams are bringing people with them that work well together, that are cool and they can trust, and it's so valuable, and it's really getting to the point where crews and especially big shows and high-end shows, people are getting along better and being kinder.
Also the change of the guard, I think, comes with the amount of content, because I remember when we first started, sure, there was a lot of content and the internet was going and stuff, and YouTube had just started, and it was becoming like YouTube became public television for anybody. You could just promote your stuff all over the world. But then when streaming started happening, Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these other big ones, and everyone now is like competing to do their own streaming, the endless amount of content is getting so huge that you have no choice but to be nice to stay with the team that you want. Kind of like if you go in and you're really nice, you'll find the nice people, kind of thing. And you'll be weeded out.
Find each other.
There's some shows, I'm sure, where everyone's a jerk because they all just end up there.
Yeah, but it's good for them. Maybe they like being a jerk.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, but
they'll still work there.
In theory, whatever works. As long as you show up on time.
Yeah, I've gone to shows that are sweetheart shows. Go in there, everybody is nicer than you. You know what I mean? Like, and you're one of the nicest people I know. And I'm talking extremely caring, trusting, just and
I'd like to think of myself as kind, not necessarily nice.
Okay. Well,
I'm always nice.
But you get my point.
Yes.
That you've been on shows like that where everybody is extremely like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. It was I mean, I was fortunate enough that I think my first show was kind of like that. Just everybody was really nice. Or up in Squamish, and, everybody was really friendly. And then I went to another couple shows, and I was like, "Whoa, this is kind of like intense. It's kind of militant." Like, okay, I'm your commander. I'm your commander. You're under my command. Yes.
Drop and give me 20,
commander. Can I do 10?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have to do 20 push-ups right now.
No. That's so great. When the dynamic between different shows, I've experienced so many times. I worked on one for 2 years, and I was like, oh my God, this is militant, this is hardcore, but you're doing a good job. And then you go to another show, and it's so different.
Like what?
Like the people you work with. I can pause it if you want.
No, keep going. I can do
You're doing 20 push-ups. I was kidding, Rich. Wow. So anyway, he's hammering them out. That's hilarious. Going to a show where everyone's super sweet, but coming from a really hardcore show and realizing that it's something that exists. You like, don't even know. There you go. Jesus. You're so hilarious. Now that was very kind.
Well, this comfortable couch you've had me on all shows pretty comfy, so I had to get up and get some. Locations. So, Be quiet, be kind, rewind, obviously. I think it's important for people not to be greedy. Either the production, the crew, the neighbors, the homeowners, and the easier you can make filming, pardon me, the easier it can be for everyone. And I mean, most people have a TV, so.
Oh yeah, no, like today, celebrity is almost the number one thing amongst society. It's unbelievable how many people are enamored and just fascinated by film. Like you go to certain neighborhoods and do some stuff. Some people are just out of their mind. You must get it all the time too when people come to you because you're a scout and you talk about it, whatever, and then they want to know about stars. They want to know about famous people. They want to know about, oh well, you know this person, you know that person.
Yeah, and sometimes it's challenging because people ask if I can get them autographs or something for, that they've come by the house. And sometimes one of the actors will be one of the producers or one of the directors for the episode or something. And it's really not my place to do that. Right. Like,
so you say, I'll see what I can do?
No.
Or you say, no, it's not my place.
I share with them. I said, unfortunately, it's really not my place to, approach actors and things like that. I can pass a request on to production and see if they're interested, but it would be neat if actors on a show were just pre-signed a whole stack, because it would be so much easier. And some of them don't have time, and
Well, the show you're on, do they do that? When I would go around, they'd give me a stack out of my car of all signed pictures.
Really?
Yeah, and that was for that kind of very thing, because there's so many people you approach and they're like, oh, my daughter's a big fan of the show, and if you can get me anything, oh, hold on. You just give them a photograph signed, they're over the moon.
They don't give me those.
Well, you ask. Go in the location office and ask. I'm telling you, they do. They print them out.
Sure, okay.
They're probably older pictures, and the guys
they're
look
printed,
younger.
but still, it's fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's just where you can be grateful and spread it around. You have a successful shoot at your show, throw a barbecue for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Tell the city everything went well. If there's a municipality that sometimes people want to film in their house, but the municipality doesn't allow filming there because there's maybe two neighbors on the block that are extremely vocal to the city. And if you're at the point where you could go and get all of your neighbors in the neighborhood except for the ones who don't like it to do a little petition and show them that, no, this neighborhood does support filming. Obviously not too frequently. Obviously for not extended periods of time necessarily. But the more film friendly you make it, the more everyone's going to end up seeing their house on TV. Really?
Yeah. Well, is there
a scout? I need houses. If anyone has a house, good.
They have a neighborhood, yeah.
As long as the rooms aren't too small,
and
it doesn't look like it's in Vancouver.
Well, is there people that are like, say, Langley people or Richmond people or Surrey people that you would call if you're on a show and they're saying, okay, well, we want to get, we're going to be filming here, get a house that's near this one area.
Yeah.
Is there certain people you would call and say, hey, help me out kind of thing, and you guys help each other out first?
No, I mean, I know a fair amount of houses, and there's usually shows now already have pre-existing files, and if it's not in their library, you go find it in yours, and my database is growing. And I mean, now it's getting to the point where there's coordinators, location coordinators. So they will be the ones that are looking on Creative BC, or they'll be the ones, that are pulling up files that you already have.
Right.
I'm Rich, I need a house tomorrow that looks like this.
Yeah.
I just laugh and I go, okay, let's do it. Let's find it. And then you find it, and then they end up picking the first one you showed them 50 houses ago.
That's almost maddening, I guess, in certain situations.
No, it's fantastic.
You do all kinds of work, and they're like, all that work you did? Yeah, we're not using it. Like, what? If you're getting paid, though, that would, I guess.
Well, and it's great. You know me. I love talking to strangers.
Yeah, it's not hard to do.
I enjoy it. Yeah.
What about driving? You're all over the place too?
Yeah. I am. They'll focus in one area for one thing because with TV shows being episodic, you need to cluster your locations if you can,
Right.
to keep them close together. But sometimes it'll change. It's like, okay, we're looking over in Langley. Okay, that's been rewritten. Some of the actors don't want to go that far, so we're going to see if we can find it in Richmond.
Right.
And that's cool. Someone was like, can you believe that actor doesn't want to drive that far? I was like, yeah, I can. Because they can decide that. Because they're valuable. So, again, if you find it shocking, but you're flying, you're not even in your home city, and you're like,
yeah.
I love Langley. It's a beautiful place. But someone's like, why are you going all the way to Langley? Because we're looking for something that doesn't look like Vancouver, sir.
We're looking for a farm, or we're looking for a specific look. Yeah.
Find it in Richmond, Rich. Okay, well, Richmond has my name in it.
Well, there was a time actually we would had to. I was on a show. We had to get permission because this other show used Steveston exclusively, and it was their town. And we had to get permission from them in order to film there, and then go through all the channels. But they were like had a hand in what we could use and couldn't use, which is wild to think. But that happens, I guess. You own a town, and then you talk to the municipality, and how do you own a town? How does it become your show's town?
I think you put a hold on it, and then you communicate with the municipality because they're not going to necessarily allow you to film on one place for too long. Maybe they will. Depends on what time of year it is.
It depends on the money.
It depends on the seasonal place because I would go so far to presume that it wasn't directly through the entire midsummer tourist part that they had rented out that part of Steveston. What time of year was it?
This would have been it would have been September-ish.
Yeah, so
we would have been rolling for because a lot of them are July is when they start, and by the time the fall rolls around,
yeah.
It was a fall time thing.
There's just a lot of things involved in it, right?
And then they go till 3 weeks before Christmas, and then come back the first week of January till April.
Mm-hmm.
Most shows that are big, that are 20 episodes or better.
20 episodes. 20 episodes. The Apple show I was on recently was 8.
Yeah, a lot of them are now. 6, 8, 13.
I've seen $20 million an episode.
Oh, Jesus.
I
That's
can't
insanity.
wait to see this.
Yeah. Because it better be good.
It was all right. I was like, but I want it to be $20 million good, you know?
Well, one of the shows I was on, I found out the budget for the year was $200 million, but that was 23 episodes. So can you imagine 8 episodes that are $160 million? Like, whoa. That's insanity. But there must be a lot of stars in it. There must be a lot of really expensive, fancy things in it.
Yeah,
right? Obviously.
the costumes were handmade, and they I don't know, started growing their hair for it 6 months beforehand or something.
And it's training it's with
pretty, yeah. No,
it was like a movie, but
it is
8 parts.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we'll see. But I want to see it. Okay, I just need to make sure we're staying on topic here, Michael. Locations.
Yeah.
So from the production's point of view, you just want it to be easy. Say this. Say, hey, yeah, it'd be neat if someone filmed in my building or something or neighborhood. How about prior to that happening and someone like me coming and saying, oh, hi, would you be interested? You could have a conversation first with your neighborhood. Like, hey, guys, have you ever had filming here? Or, hey, guys, do you think we could film here?
Right.
Because sometimes the strata meetings are every second Thursday of the month.
Yeah, no.
So getting an answer is I can't tell a producer, oh, sorry, sir, I have to wait till the second. No, you will you tell them what the process is, but quite often it takes longer to get an okay than will make your place even feasible to film at. So if you have an apartment building that you think would be cool to film in, you know your neighbors well, or you're willing to open up a discussion with them about filming, then approach your strata or your neighbors and already have it in place as to what some of your decisions would be. Because if someone comes and says, hey, do you mind if we pay your strata fees for 6 months?
Yeah.
People will be like, yes, sweet, do it. But you need to already have it in place to like, yes, we're willing to entertain filming.
So you could just walk right in and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jim in number 20 and Sally in number 307, where the strata council leaders are in concurrence representing them on, their opinion for filming.
Oh yeah, no. If you have everything ready, like you must do that also besides just doing it for a job. Like you don't just go there and say, hey, I need 10 houses, so you go look for them. Is there sometimes that you go and look at houses or people approach you and say, hey, I'd like to use my house for filming. Can you come take pictures, put me on your roster? And then maybe by chance, if you're working in production, you might have right in your phone and you can pull up pictures and go, boom.
Did that the other day.
There you go.
And I never know what I'm being looking for. Next script might come and be like, quaint house.
Right.
Abandoned factory. Dog park. Whatever.
Do you look at places when you go by and is this for lease and you know it's empty? And you like give them a call and be like, oh.
Well, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. So you know why? Because then you're asking a property manager or a leasing agent to not only give you the contact for the owner to pay the owner, which might not pay that leasing agent or property manager. So there might not be anything in it for them. And then
they have no motive,
B, they're trying to lease it. It's their job is to lease it, not to have some film crew there interrupting them leasing it. So it comes down to how well you know your leasing agent or your property manager, because some property managers, leasing agents would just say no, and they will tell you the owner's not interested.
Right.
And sometimes the owner is interested. So the way that I have dealt with that is by always going, because I can go to the Land Title Survey Authority right away, and I can find out who owns that property. I can go there and I can do that. But
you sidestep
no, but I don't want to do that because that's not fair to someone who is involved in it, and maybe has someone looking at it the other day that he hasn't told the owner because the owner's away. So, out of respect for them, I will definitely make them my first attempt at contact. Right, out of respect for they have a billboard on it with their name on it, so I don't need circumventing them is a little rude. It's like, dude, you drove past my name with a phone number on it.
yeah.
So. That's what that's for. So I will approach them and I'll speak with them, and I would say, hi, it's Richard Tickner calling today, blah, 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 blah. I'm with this show. And there's an opportunity for some sort of short-term lease to our production, as they are interested in filming there. And prior going to the Land Title Survey Authority to find out who the owner was, I saw your name on there, and I thought it would give you the opportunity to give your client this proposal to see if they're interested in making money from our production, because then it gives them the respect that they can bring it to their clients, because it might be like, oh, thanks, man, Harry, good idea, and then they give him a gratuity out of it, which is they should do.
Right.
Some don't. Some owners be like, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for giving that guy my
thanks
phone
for that
number.
$10,000.
Yeah. And then, send him a bottle of wine or her a bottle of wine or a non-alcoholic beverage.
Right. So one of your suggestions then is, if you have a property for sale and you're having a hard time selling it, tell your property manager that you're interested in
that
filming.
you would be open to the possibility of filming there.
So make sure they're aware of this before
If you can tell them that ahead of time, be like, hey, if someone wants to film here, cool. Because sometimes markets will go up and down, and if they can have something pay their property tax,
they might keep it for filming.
Yeah. But then again, if that's your neighborhood, make sure you, especially if you don't live there and you have a thing, like communicate with your neighbors. Hey guys, thanks a lot. Send them gift baskets or some sort of way that you can make sure that everybody had a good experience or that they want them back. Because if you're wanted back, it means it was a good experience. And there's no lack of content needed. There's no lack of television shows that are going to be around. So the better you can make it for everyone as a production, as an owner, and as a neighbor, then the better it'll be for everybody. If you have a TV, then you support.
Yeah. If you watch TV, that's it.
Then you do support the arts.
Yeah. So if you want your neighborhood to film, find out the process, find out what it takes, and see if, because some neighborhoods you can't film. There's just no way. That's why there's been no filming here. We have said.
But that may also be only because of a couple of neighbors.
Right.
Who are the most vocal, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I know.
And if no one says anything.
But if everyone else says, you know what, we are all into it.
Right.
So
10 versus 2 or whatever.
Then a municipality will listen to you because they do take numbers and voting, and so yeah, I think just open lines of communication are the most important for everybody doing well with it. Really, right?
That's wild because I think a lot of people are interested in having their place, especially
or just seeing the process. They see all these trucks everywhere, and what's going on, and if you see it from a distance, there's nothing going on. Like, are those people just standing around and all of a sudden they're moving quickly? Like, what's going on? So when you do get to see it, it's like, listen, excuse me, ma'am, you're going to have to like go into your window. I said, okay, sure. Just look through the blinds, or like, can we come around the side if your neighbors? Different crews have different attitudes, but it's neat seeing it.
It is.
In action. The amount of time and the amount of people and the amount of technicians and skills and courses and training and unions involved in getting, things to look.
Oh, when the crew shows up, it's no joke. You watch 120, 200 people all work in unison and together, like an ant population or something. Like it's really wild, especially at rap. When they call rap and we're done for the day, it is unbelievable. You see these groups
really
of people
tidy
just
locusts.
yeah. Wrap it up.
Yeah.
They almost like create also things in their truck to make it easy to wrap it up. That's the other thing. They make little compartments. They make little things. Well, if I make this, I can just slide it in and I'm done or whatever. And
then people realize how quickly it's like, oh, this seems like a lot of stuff built up here. And then someone called rap, and all of a sudden, shortly afterwards, the trucks are leaving and there's nothing else there other than there's nothing there anymore. There's no people. There's no garbage. They're getting better. I mean, they're so good at leaving without a trace.
I've done really nice neighborhoods too, where they're like a cul-de-sac we have. We're filming at one house, and they know they're taking over this cul-de-sac. So they said, go around to all the neighbors in the cul-de-sac and give them a $100 gift card to wherever, or maybe a Visa gift card or something, and tell them what's going on, and we're going to be taking this over for 2 days.
It's just like, here, have it, excuse the inconvenience. Here, have a nice dinner on us.
Exactly.
And some shows don't do necessarily gift cards anymore. They'll do proximity agreements so people can park closer to them, or
right,
or utilize their property in some way,
or we'll have their cars parked in our crew park, and then we have transport drive them back home, kind of thing.
And if you can, if you're cool about it and aren't too pushy, and you do see something that seems a little bit more impactful than you had initially been spoken to about, then to speak to a location manager and ask them politely, like, hey man, like, I don't mind you doing this, but it's be a little bit more impact than we had initially anticipated, and make sure that it actually is, because I don't know, there's just, you're parked in front of my house, I need $800. Like, what?
Right.
It's Your diesel generator is drowning out the sound of the television that I'm watching. Do you watch our show? Yeah, actually, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I still want $800 and you move your stupid generator.
Yeah. People are like that.
They should move the generator, but the $800 seems a little excessive. But whatever.
I was in a neighborhood one time and this old guy came out with an axe. He came out with this axe.
And you're like, how much?
Yeah, no. And he's walking towards the generator. He's like, it's been here for 3 days. And he was losing his mind.
Oh.
And we've done everything to appease him as far as the crew goes, but he wasn't having any of it.
I was like, how much are you selling us that axe for?
Yeah, exactly. We'll give you $1,000 if you give us that axe. And I've also done neighborhoods too where a guy comes out and mows his lawn while they're filming, while they're rolling, and they're like, hey, get rid of that guy. You can't mow his lawn. We're rolling. It's going to be too noisy. So I go over there and talk to him and I give him $100. And he's like, oh, goes in the house. Then all the neighbors come out and they start mowing their lawns because you gave that guy $100. So everybody wants $100.
And then it seems like, oh, that was great. And then they'll never do it there again.
Right. So that's another thing about being greedy in neighborhoods and making demands or doing things in order to screw it up.
Assess the impact and assess whether there is actual impact. And then find the fine line between it being profitable yet for you yet not impactful. Because if you're not home all day and they filmed while you're gone, I don't know. I understand that people perceive productions having a lot of money, and some shows do, and a lot of shows don't.
Right.
And things go faster than you think. So it's I think communication is really the only thing I can suggest with this whole thing. It's like, whatever your opinions are your opinions, but if you can communicate and make these things easy for everyone involved, all three sides of those locations, then that's gonna benefit everyone and perpetuate the industry. You know.
Well, I've done lots of independents too, and didn't have a big budget, didn't have a lot of money, and people are so friendly and so nice about it. You go in and say, "Hey, I can only give you $100 and for 2 days or something." And
they're like, "Okay, where are you going to park all your trucks?" They're like, "Actually, we only have one truck." They're
like,
"Oh, you,
get
in
they
here,
don't care.
kiddo."
I know
one
little generator that we were, like
that little red one that I took. I have one of those for camping.
Yeah,
that's our Jenny. Shut up.
Yeah. But people will be friendly, and
the
more you also let independents film in your neighborhood or your business, that will draw, because these people who do independent films also work usually in the professional industry, and they would suggest to scout friends they have, and you could probably get a real show, like a professional show in there that pays you real money.
Yeah.
Because some of these businesses can make a lot per times. I remember running out checks sometimes. The biggest one I've ever seen that I ran out was $106,000, and it was a week at this place that we filmed or whatever. And it was really invasive, of course, of the place. You're not going to pay that kind of money, but that was I'm thinking, oh my God.
It was in Shaughnessy or something, like a crazy high-end home or a mansion or something?
No, it was the Cat paper mill. And they had liaisons there, and they took it over for a week of prep, and then a week of filming.
Yeah,
and
industrial,
and it was a big industrial. Yeah, and this place is humongous. It's not like a home, you know. It's an abandoned warehouse, and essentially, but massive, different things right on the water. Has a really good backdrop and stuff. So, big places like that are abandoned could make money too. If you own any sort of property that's not being used, you have a chance.
Of course. I mean, it's like you can have productions pay your property tax because they come in with their own insurance. If some places are not suitable workplaces, hey, probably film there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that place might not be deemed suitable for what it was intended to do. But if people aren't using that, it's a backdrop where actors are standing around doing their make-believe filming, then great. The property tax thing is crazy. It's crazy. As soon as things get rezoned, as soon as there's a factory and it's a lot that someone was sitting on, and a tower goes up within that kilometer, it's like, oh yeah, it looks like you're assessed that your property taxes are looking at about $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month now on my rust pile. So.
Yeah.
Then it has to change and have something else to afford it, really.
When you deal with anything like parks or anything that is the municipality owns it kind of thing, it's a public space. That is just handled by the production. No scouts have anything to do with that. You can't. You go to a park. I'm wondering.
It depends on who. It depends on who it is. And with certain municipalities, you don't even talk to parks until you've spoken to them first.
Okay.
And then certain places will be like, well, talk to parks before you talk to us because we can't say yes and yes they do. There's different relationships and different dynamics in different municipalities and how they work it out. And different teams have different strategies and how to communicate with them. Some people I know personally or have just spoken with them and we have a really good rapport, so I'll just phone them.
I see.
Yeah, I'll just phone them directly. And then they'll be like, oh, well, that's not my call. You need to phone so-and-so. And they'll text me their number. I communicate reasonably well. And there's certain people that is supposed to... There will be others that will follow up with the email chain through the proper channels. But sometimes people just want a phone call and be like, yeah, sure, yeah, cool. Those dates are fine. Talk to parks.
So when you deal with those people who are liaisons or actual parks or whoever, and you get to know them and you have it in your phone, it's so much easier just to call and go, oh, yeah.
Hey, yeah, I know Virginia.
I know all these people. That's sweet.
Yeah. Well, how are you doing for time? Have I been rambling? This was a little bit more focused than last time. Than my
it was. We actually focused on the actual locations.
Locations.
I love it. It's going to be the locations episode.
Great.
That's what I'll call it. Okay, and cool. To me, it's a fascinating thing because it's also different in different parts of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Locations is a different thing in, say, L.A. or in Georgia or in all these different places have different rules. Toronto, Montreal, right?
I have never scouted in any of those cities. I've only scouted in my local city in the Lower Mainland.
And that's what you know, how they do it here and how it works. But it's not exactly the same in other places, but it's not that different. I don't think that you would have you couldn't do it.
That I couldn't do it. My asset is my ability to find the people who do know these areas.
Right.
There's certain areas where you just don't go driving around by yourself and walking up driveways to knock on people's doors.
So
some areas are not. That's not the best idea to do. Even out in places past Chilliwack and stuff. There's some people want their privacy and they have farms and they don't want people there. So you don't go and do like random cold calling. You'll leave something on the fence at the end of their driveway. Or my tactic for approaching neighborhoods like that will be to go to see if I can find a central spot, like a cafe or a city hall or somewhere some sort of elders of the town are hanging out, and see if I can consult people that way. If maybe there's like a bulletin board or something. Because I don't want to be too invasive. And there was a scout that was in Mexico, I believe, who was scouting for, I think it was narcos. And he got shot and killed. And they found him.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to neighborhoods, you don't know. Right? You don't know.
Yeah, there's some places that you're not invited.
Right.
And that's not your space to go. And it's also important not to, like I was saying with the property manager and things, just not necessarily circumventing people and go through the social structure out of respect for finding out who's where. And if I'm really all up in a neighborhood, I will definitely make myself known. As soon as anyone looks at, what's that guy driving past slow? I'm like, oh, hi there, I'm Richard, I'm location scouting, and give them a card or something. And quite often they'll end up being a resource, but making it known to, the community. Once you've had an all clear from a city, sure, you're cool to look around there for your dates. Then you can start talking to neighbors and things. You don't necessarily also want to keep it private. You don't want to tell people how much their neighbors are getting, or if they are, that's their business. My suggestion is for them to take the onus and communicate with their neighbors if they had a problem with it, and if you had your house filmed at, check the temperature of your neighbors afterwards. Like, how was it? I'm like, oh, cool, we'll take you guys out to dinner and or something.
No, that's sweet.
Yeah, be kind, rewind. But thank you very much for having me, Mike.
Oh yeah, no, thanks for coming back. Anytime. We'll
tons of productions.
We're gonna have more locations talks as time goes on for sure.
Cool.
All right, take care, Rich.
You too. Bye.
I always love talking to Rich. It's so fun. Till next week, take care, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.